The book of 3rd John is one of the shortest books of the New Testament, but it's one of the most important. In fact, it has a layout that's really easy for us to see a comparison between different lifestyles of Christians. John writes to three specific individuals. At the beginning, he says, "The elder to the beloved Gaius, whom I love in truth." And we're going to see that Gaius represents for us the prosperous Christian, one who walks in truth. He says, "Beloved, I pray that in all respects you may prosper and be in good health, just as your soul prospers." Consider for a moment, his prayer is, I want your physical health to be matched with your spiritual health. What a prayer! That you would physically prosper according to the way that your soul prospers. And he prospers because he's walking in truth. But then we see a second individual in 3rd John. John writes now to another Christian named Diotrephes. And in Diotrephes, we see a character of pride and arrogance. Notice what he says in verse 9. "I wrote something to the church, but Diotrephes, who loves to be first among them, does not accept what we say." In fact, John goes further and says, "When I come to you, I will call attention to his deeds, which he does." He says, this is a proud, arrogant Christian that doesn't accept what we say, and he loves to be the first among all. Maybe you know people like that. John shows in this tiny book that humility is to be preferred rather than pride. And then he writes to a third individual, names them specifically, and this is Demetrius. And notice how he describes Demetrius. He says, "Demetrius has received a good testimony from everyone and from the truth itself. And we add our testimony, and you know that our testimony is true." He says Demetrius is the pleasant Christian. He's the one that everybody longs to be with because Demetrius encourages those who are around him. And so think of these three individuals. We think of this man named Gaius, who is the prosperous Christian walking in truth. The man named Diotrephes, the proud Christian who needs to learn humility. But then we see Demetrius, the pleasant Christian who has a good testimony, not only with John, but with all who knew him. It's a good reminder for us reading this short book that we should choose what kind of Christian do we want to be known as.